right, a very good morning to you and welcome to a special edition of the platform here at FLO 94.9 FM, Umuahia, the FLO of Abia State. Like you must have heard in that jingle, it's been 23 years of democracy as at May 29th. Historically, the nation has enjoyed unbroken civil rule after many years of military incursions. It is also time for stock taking as we look at how this form of government has fared on Nigerians, ask critical questions on whether our leaders have done well in delivering good governance and development. Abia State as a sub-national has also experienced democracy in the same vein. It is on this note that we want to look at the Abia project critically again. We want to appraise Abia development sectorally and gauge the journey so far. In the course of this interaction, we shall look at education, governance, human capital development, and security, among others. On the lineup this morning, we have the Chancellor, Gregory University and Governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Professor Gregory Ibe, who will be joining us virtually very soon, and also Chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Dr. Monday Bani, the Chairman of Abia League of Professionals, Mr. Sani Iroche, and Professor of Criminology, Security and Counter-Terrorist Expert, Professor David Chukwudi Obianaso. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. We will be bringing all these for you this morning. Stay with us. So first in our lineup this morning is Professor Greg Ibe. He is the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA in Abia State. He's already waiting online to join us. Good morning, Prof, and thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of the platform on Abia Project. Thank you so much for joining us, Prof.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning, Abia people and Nigerians.
Okay, let's just start this way. You've been in the education sector for a while now. What is your assessment of Nigeria's democracy so far, where it has to do with education?
Well, education as a major tool and factor in achieving sustainable economic development through investment in human capital. If I want to look at it, it's still not anything to provide. You can score some zones 50%, some zones you will score them 1%. So if you want to look at Nigeria generally, we are still very backward, and we should be averaging about 25-30% in terms of producing the generality of people that can support or sustain the economy by human capital development. What I mean is over 60% of Nigerian youth are from the north, and they don't have education. So whereas other zones and regions are having problems, in Anambra it used to be the male out of school. The girls were going to school in Anambra, and the boys were not going. They were all looking to trade. So all these problems have been presented to us in the UN, and to look at it critically well. These are the problems. If I want to look at Nigeria as a whole, the scorecard is not good, but some zones can say that yes, they are doing well, not minding the fact that they have developed state universities, polytechnics, and they are not yet measuring up with what we call human capital development in terms of sustaining technology advancement, entrepreneurship, and all that. We are still very backward, and you can see why that problem is persistent. Is because it's easy to recruit the younger ones into different vices that is causing the security breaches across the country. Because if we had invested much in education, we should not be looking at anybody or looking at these challenges that we are facing today, just because we avoided the critical aspect or factor that is the sustainable development in every community.
Okay, Prof, when you look at our educational sector today, as we have it, you know that students, those ones in the public tertiary institution, universities precisely, They are very much at home due to the ASU strike that is ongoing. Now, I listened to our former Minister of State for Education, Majoba, and he was actually advocating that private individuals or companies can actually step in to be funding tertiary institution, that's public tertiary institution, instead of government doing it all alone. Do you agree to that, or do you have a different view?
Before I set up Gregory University, Uturu, I was consultant during the Passenger government for the UN for him, and I did the education revamping in Nigeria. Before President Obasanjo came to power, the study of mathematics and sciences and technology was at the lowest end. So I had to initiate a presidential initiative for the revamping of study of mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, and technology subjects. And the first thing I did was to review the entire curriculum in the Nigerian educational system, from primary school, junior and senior secondary school, and up to university. So for that we did then, we thought that in support to 633 for education, that something would come to it. In fact, at the point, we had to bring in the former Prime Minister of the UK to join us with Nkoyo Konji-Iweala so that we can raise more money to help support educational development. And some of the programs we through that time was home feeding program when Pachi was still a minister. And then we also brought cash for going to school. We give parents money if they encourage their children to go to school. So this is happening up north. And then when President Nathan came to power, still based on that, he had to do a lot of schools for their market. So what question you asked is, what do we do, or how do we view what is at present?
Yeah, especially in the area of funding.
On the area of funding, all this time I wrote a full research paper and gave it to President. I said, to avoid this trouble happening in public universities, we should do divestment. We should divest seriously. At least let people that have money take 30%. It's not just going to privatize government companies. Government companies being privatized and government takes some 30% or 40%, and then private individuals will come in. So that is what privatization is doing. The same thing should happen in all the tertiary institutions or public institutions, so that it will put some life into them. Put some life into them. I'm not trying to tell my colleagues that what I call creative destruction. What I mean by creative destruction, of course, every professor should know. But the fact that a private individual has bought into a public institution doesn't mean that they will not be well paid, that they push their right. No, rather, what I advocated was the federal government, through the federal scholarship board, which is now State Fund, should make money available to any child of Nigeria who has passed exam with 3 shorties. You can go to university and the State Fund, you can borrow money, financial aid. 1.5 million to be paid every year for your school fees to the school, and 500 to the student, and then every year. Then that money is like a loan. When you start work, then you can start to pay back this money. It's a revolving money.
Okay.
This revolving money, you know your children will benefit from it. You will love to pay. I've made those things available to government, and to the president now, who are rehabilitating him later, that except and when they implement that program, 60% of Northerners will not go to school. I've said it in Radio Nigeria, I've said it in different radio and different forums. Try trying to encourage government to take a bold step. So if we don't do it, then I'm sorry, there continue to be a problem. So what I mean by creative destruction is that if you have 30 or 40,000 students in your institution and the school fees are paid 1.5 million for each person by government, then you can take money for all the things you need. You can increase your salary, you can do everything you want because the money is available. Instead of 40,000 naira paid for people to go to institution of higher learning.
Okay.
So I don't know if do I continue?
No. I think you've made your point, but I want us to bring this conversation down to the state because this should be our major point of call here. Now, I want us to look at the issue of how can this Abia State utilize education to develop the state. I've seen cases where foundations organize scholarships and do other programs that will encourage students to actually take their studies seriously. But do you think that is enough? I also know that state government at some point also had something like school feeding for those in the primary and secondary school. Do you think that is enough on the side of government to encourage people to take studies seriously and also develop education in the state?
We have so far been doing piecemealing. We have so far been doing piecemealing in terms of education intervention. If we have to do it holistically, if our forefathers were able to suffer from their farm produce, and people in Ohafia was able to send their children to universities or UI, IFE in those days. And that's why we have several educated people in Ohafia. We have several educated people in Umuahia, in Okwa, everywhere. Because they were investing on their children. Why are we being selective in our attitude to education in the state? Do not let anybody, or don't let anybody put behind in any form of activity in the state. For example, the university in our state is our catchment. The polytechnic is our catchment, the polytechnic. So we produce the people for the world of work. To what extent have we continuously improved this university so that we can produce using our catchment position for all the jobs required in this new world that we are into? We have always, for the past 30-something years, maintained offering of STEM courses. I introduced entrepreneurship curriculum in the whole country. I brought it to Abia State University. I worked with the former VC to make sure that we have engineering. And everything about engineering in APGA, I made sure I wrote APGA into it from the federal. And they got the equipment for that. The same thing I did for the polytechnic. I wasn't told to do it. I wasn't compelled. But because I'm the one writing this program, I need to write in my state in these programs to make sure they benefit alongside. In fact, they were the first to benefit in most of the programs I have initiated in the country because I'm from Abia. So what is happening today is that most of the local government is classified as part of the forest by World Bank because we have taken education behind us and put thread before us. And then what it has taken, or abandonment and unemployment has taken over the sphere. So the education is now on the last line, which is supposed to be on the first line charge. So that's why our state is still lagging behind, and we might be growing people and youths that ought to ordinarily be given education so that they will involve themselves in productive activity. They have new thinking. They have new arsenal in their hands to conquer the world in which we are. But they are denied this opportunity. And when I keep on emphasizing on creative destruction. I give you one simple example.
Okay.
When computer came into being, most secretaries were going on strike, and they don't want to be sacked from their job because now one computer does every job. But I was going around preaching across the country that this is part of creative destruction. For the fact we are removing typewriters from offices doesn't mean you are losing your job. When they started listening to us, they allowed computers to be installed in all the offices, ministries in federal and state. Some states now are still allowing typewriters, by the way. The computer, they have only one computer center. But when this computer took effect, it allowed even your boss to know how to use computer and type. Not like me, who went also in commercial school education, and I know typing.
Okay.
I know shorthand. But now everybody is a typist. So it has reduced the pressure on the typist. 1. 2, it has created a computer department that created more jobs for people. It has created more people from going to study computer engineering because they have to maintain the control center. So you see, creative destruction, instead of reducing more, it creates more jobs.
Okay.
You must destroy to create new things. So this is what I say, that in Abia we must stop this overdependence on abandoning education and making people to think that trading or Okada riding or involved in other vices is the way to go. The best way to go is education.
Okay. All right. Let me sincerely thank you, the Chancellor of Gregory University and the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, Professor Gregory Ibe, for speaking to us on Abia Project and the special edition of the platform. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, you have him there. That's the Professor Gregory Ibe, the APGA governorship candidate. He's said a whole lot about how to improve the educational sector, especially in Abia State, the way forward, the roadmap, and what have you. Now, it is still the special edition of the the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. This is Abia Project. We are looking at a whole lot, and don't forget that yesterday was June 12th. June 12th is the Democracy Day, when we, of course, celebrate democracy in Nigeria upon its return in 1999. We are looking at which way so far in Abia State. How have we fared so far as a people? Now, I will be bringing another person. That should be the chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Dr. Monday Bani. He will be joining us very soon. But let's take a breather. When we come back, you will see my guest shortly. Stay with us.